Welcome, students of Form 3. We're going to look at question goal 19, and this is about describing. And the question is, describe the first slave fort built by the Portuguese in 1482 by using the four words Ashanti gold mines, single file, escape attempts, and escape plots fittingly. So these four words really got to fit into your answer. I'm going to talk you through the answer, but it's not so much about you reproducing it at the test. That could be correctly, but on the long run, it's more important that you are able to do this by yourself. So it's not as much that you have to do like reproduce it during the test, but it's you have to be able to explain it during the test, knowing what I and CSEC and the SPU asks of you. What quality do I ask of you? What academic quality, what academic skills do I ask of you in answering this goal? And you got to use the four words Ashanti gold mines, single file, escape attempts, and escape plots. If you don't know these four words yet, if you don't know what single file is, if you don't know who the Ashanti are, the gold mines, Google them, because it's important you know what this is, who the Ashanti are, and what the terms, the terminology, the concepts, what they mean. The slave fort, what are we talking about? We are talking about El Mina. This is Portuguese for the mine, yeah, and it is in modern day Ghana. And it is still a reminder of the Portuguese and the Dutch and the European slave trade in Western Africa, in what we nowadays, well, in what we refer to as historians as the Gold Coast. I want to talk about the Gold Coast more than once during the coming years. Now, this is a Dutch map. You see the Dutch flag on top, and this is how the Dutch used after the Portuguese. The Dutch conquered it, and they also used it as a slave fort in the 17th century. The answer: the slave fort, first built by the Portuguese in 1482, was actually initially meant to attack the Ashanti gold mines. That's why it was called El Mina in Portuguese. This means the mine. You got to remember, we're not at the height of the Atlantic slave trade yet, and there are no massive sugar plantations yet. So its first purpose was to attack the Ashanti and to steal their gold, because you know gold is worth a lot. So this was its first purpose. Later on, the Portuguese used it as a slave fort. I'm going to describe it. Its corridor, where the chained slaves had to walk single file, was so narrow the enslaved Africans could only walk single file behind each other. Together with the hole concealed in the ceiling, in the roof to spy on them, this was meant to prevent escape attempts and escape plots from the enslaved. Yeah, so it was designed and adapted in a way that it was very hard for them to escape or to talk together to come up with a plan to escape together. It was designed to prevent this. Yeah, here you see the main hall, the main outside area of Elmina, and here you see the peephole or the hole concealed in the roof to spy on them. Here it is at the sides. There was also one in the roof, and these holes like this, were meant to prevent escape attempts and escape plots. Because there was put an Ashanti spy or someone of mixed descent was put there who spoke Ashanti languages or Bantu languages to spy on the enslaved Africans so they could hear when they were making escape plots or trying to escape. And like I said, the main hall, the corridor to the main hall was very narrow, so they could only speak single. They could only walk single file, and all this was meant to prevent escape attempts en escape plots van the enslaved. Yeah? Okay. So again, looking at the answer, you always begin with coming back to the question. This slave fort first built by the Portuguese in 1489 is referring back to the question. And we see the four words, look at them: Ashanti gold mines, single file, escape attempts, and escape plots. Are there more ways to do this? Yes. This is just one way I just thought of by myself, but there are dozens, maybe even more than 100 ways of answering this question. And it is more about you answering the question in your own way, but fittingly, properly, then you have to reproduce this answer at the test. Because in year five, you also got to do the exam, and there you will not remember this answer given to you by me. But the skill you have in answering the question and the academic thinking and your studying that you have done in advance, that will stick with you, that will stay with you, and that is a skill. The skill you have to show, and your academic skills, your academic abilities, you have to show at the test. I hope I helped you with this answer. I hope I helped you with this explanation. I